Okay, it's quite an exciting day today because we've actually got our vines that have arrived today. Would you believe it, inside this box there's 300 vines, which look a little bit like that. I think they're bundled in 20s. And these are a Bacchus variety on an SO4 rootstock. And the tops are coated with wax to keep the buds, or the potential buds, nice and moist, I guess, and the roots look in good condition. But they've arrived and we haven't yet got our vineyard ready to plant them, so it's not too much of a disaster. So I'm going to put the vines just in a bed, give them a nice good watering so they don't dry out, and then in probably about 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks time we should be ready to transplant them from here into the vineyard. Okay, these are the vines that we planted about a month ago, just in the raised bed here, just to keep the roots moist. Okay, after we've ploughed the field and got it all nice and level, it's now time for planting our vines in our nice bare field, as you can see. Anyway, Sonia's starting to mark out 2.5 metre width between the rows. And the distance between the vines is going to be roughly 1.5 meters. So each row, it's only a small field, but each row is going to have 27, 28 vines on each row, and we're going to have 10 to 11 rows. So that's all we're doing. So very sort of Heathcliff episode, in that I've just made a board which is 2.5 meters long, and we're just measuring it out along the string so we get nice straight rows, and that's about it. Very simple. To get the end posts at a rough 20-degree angle, I made a very simple jig which is 20 degrees, and all I'm going to do is just put that next to my whole auger machine when I drive the holes, or drive the auger into the ground, and that should at least start the post off in the right direction. Right, I've got various jigs. This is my 2.5 metre jig, so that does the distance between the rows, and this is my 1.5 metre and 75 centimetre jig, so that I get the right spacing at the end of the rows. So all I'm doing, that's this little mark here is where a vine's going to go, and so 75 centimetres in from the last plant, that's where we put our post, and where these two boards come together, that's where we're going to put a post. So just about, oops, there. There we go. So that's where our post is going to go, and that's where we're going to drill our hole. So just get the string nice and tight so that our vines are going to be in a nice straight straight line. And what we've done on the string itself is marked off every 1.5 meters. We put a little twist tie in, not that one because that's where I joined the rope, but this one here is 1.5 meters away, and the next one another 1.5 meters away. So all we've got to do now with the post auger is to drill a hole where one of those cable ties is and put a plant in. So that's what we're going to do now. Right, okay, we're ready for planting. This is our little Bacchus variety white wine vine. and as you can see, it's just starting to come into leaf, which is good, and got a nice root on the end of it there, which is good. And the graft union is just here, so it's on a rootstock, a SO4 rootstock, this particular one, which means it's a little bit better for difficult draining soils and various other things. But the most important thing is that it's grafted, which means it's resistant to a whole heap of bugs and pests, and it should be resilient. I can't remember the exact name of the bugs and I don't know, parasites, I guess, that it's resistant to. Anyway, we're going to plant them, and we're going to leave about 10 centimetres below the graft union there, so round about that sort of level, that sort of thing, and give it a good pack down. It's been raining a lot these last 24 hours, so there's plenty of moisture in the ground for it to start, and hopefully that should grow into a nice vine. We'll see anyway. These roots dry out quite quickly, so you want to put them in the ground as soon as you can. Put some soil, tuck that in. Make sure that the graft union there is about 10 centimetres from the surface of the ground. Give it a nice heel in and move on to the next. After planting, just give it a good soak, just so that those roots bed in nicely. Next thing we do is we just put some rabbit netting round each vine, and we use this sort of diamond shaped plastic netting with the ends turned up. It's just rolled over itself. And we just put that gently over, and then we put some soil where it's looped up, just to sort of anchor it down a little bit, just give it some weight at the bottom, like so. Doesn't have to be that neat and tidy. And then once that's done, we just put a stake through the top and the bottom, like so. And then that's a bit of protection from the rabbits or any deer that come in. Now here's a vine we've planted. This is quite a good example, I think. We've got the grafting union there, which is about 10 centimetres or so above the ground, which is good. We've got the scion, which is this area here, and they're shooting. There's lots of little buds on here. There's two I think coming through here, which you can just about see, or maybe one. Anyway, the ones which are absolutely ideal, the ones closest to the centre of the scion here, if sometimes you get ones coming down along, underneath, they can just be snapped off. We don't want shoots which are coming downwards, we want ones which are going upwards, obviously. And ideally, we don't want ones right at the end of these little twig bits here. They just tend to be a bit delicate, but ones right in the centre there, they're absolutely ideal. So I'm hoping this little one is going to do well. Here's another one which is showing a couple of shoots, 3 shoots altogether. There's a nice centre one there, that tall one, which is doing really well. There's another little side one there, and there's a tiny one just there coming through as well. I'm not going to touch these until they grow a little bit bigger, and then I'll decide which one to keep to train up the rod here up to the main trellis line. But that one's looking nice. Okay, the final one I'm going to show you, this one's got multiple buds on, which is a good sign. I'll leave these 3 top ones just to see which one develops into the best shoot. But again, we've got this downward pointing one there, which we don't want, so we can literally just snap that one off. Just so all the energy goes into the other ones. Okay, we've got all the vines in the ground now, all 300. It's taken slightly less than a week to get all the vines in the ground since the local farmer did all our ploughing and harrowing and seeding of the soil. So even though the ground is still pretty bare looking, it should be about another week or so before we should see the green shoots of the grass seed coming up. But at least we've got the vines in the ground, which is what I really wanted. So as you can see, we've got all the rabbit guards around every single vine, as well as the stakes. We've got the end posts in, if you can see that. And really the next stage is getting the main trellis wire in along the rows and then tying these steel posts to or steel rods to the main trellis wire. Once we've done that, what we're really then trying to look for is the shoots coming up from the vines in a nice straight orderly fashion up the stake up to the main wire. Now of course that's not going to happen because our plants never really do what you want them to do, so we're going to have a look at them and pick out any buds and things which are growing in the wrong direction. And we really want buds or shoots which are nice and straight, coming straight up, and we can selectively choose which ones to stay the course. Anyway, that's about it for today. I'm really pleased. Got all our vines in and it's starting to look like a vineyard. So fingers crossed, need some sunshine and the vines will start growing. Okay. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to get updates on our vineyard and everything else that we do here on the farm. Really appreciate it as it helps us out too.